Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Julie Mann. I am a professional network marketer, an actor, and I'm an EFT practitioner. And today I'm really delighted because I'm joined by Deborah Rubin. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, honey.
So,
Kindred spirit.
so Deborah works as a breathing and yoga instructor, and she's also designer of the clarity process. Now, before we get into talking about all that, before we get into talking about your career, Deborah, let's touch on your childhood. So I'm really curious, was there any yoga in your family? Where did that yoga journey actually begin?
Oh, that's interesting. No, no yoga at all. But I was traveling. I had been traveling for a year with a friend, and she left to come back to Canada, and I went down to South Africa. And in my travels in South Africa, I met this lovely young man who said, "Would you like to try yoga?" And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, come to a yoga class with me." So I went to this yoga class, and I just fell in love. I just was smitten immediately by yoga. And so it just continued from there. And I've been doing it since I've been 24. It's like every day I do yoga. And it just became a passion. And so becoming a teacher was a no-brainer, becoming a no-brainer. So I went and I studied in Valmorin, Quebec, living in a tent and studying yoga at 24 and just having the time of my life, just, being in the whole focus of yoga. Yeah. And so that was a 5-week course. And then from there, I just was smitten, like I say. Yeah.
I
So
love
it's my life. It's been an underpinning, and that and meditation have been an underpinning for since I've been 24. So a couple of days.
I love that. And I love that word smitten as well. I don't hear it very often. I love that.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
would someone choose to add yoga into their busy life? Come on, everyone's busy, aren't they? What are the
Yes.
benefits?
Yes. Yes.
Everyone's smitten.
Oh,
What are the benefits of yoga?
a loaded question. So what it gives me is I can get out of my head. I mean, I can do yoga and be busy in my head, but it's just exercise, right? But as soon as I get out of my head and into my body and I'm present and I feel I've expanded, and it doesn't matter whether you've ever done yoga before or you're a real advanced yogi. When you're in that place, it just feels marvelous. It's like you're home. And so to me, it's the practice of coming home physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So it's like a tool on so many levels. And so that has kept me coming back and coming back and coming back because I get so much from it. And if let's say, there's an emotional day going on, I'll do certain postures that I call them, like, if your listeners know about chakras, the chakras are the 7 chakras. There's a lot more, but there's the main chakras, and they're attached to the physical and the emotional state, and so many levels to a chakra. But if I'm feeling down, I kind of do a series of postures that I call them the chakra scrubbers. So I can bring myself back into a place of, okay, I'm grounded, and let that go. I've washed it out. But combining that with the subtle breath is a double whammy. And then just, with the meditation, I feel like I just have these tools that I can dip into anywhere. I have them at my disposal, and uh, and use them for whatever I want, whether I want to energize myself or bring myself back into a place of calm or keep myself mobile and strong. And that's really important for me, is keeping myself strong, keeping my core strong, being flexible, being able to move and, reach up something on the shelf and whatever, is to have the freedom. So yoga for me means freedom and connected to a really lovely part of myself, because everybody has that lovely part of their self. Only we get really busy. We get really busy and forget who we are. But really, who we are is that calm, lovely, centered, um, delightful and blissful person.
Well, who doesn't want bliss? But the thing is, you said that you began yoga and you're completely smitten, and that's not everyone else's experience, is it? Do you meet people who have to really persevere at it and actually don't kind of take to it so easily like you did?
Maybe it could be the teacher. So I would suggest that if somebody, well, there's another thing. Are you ready? And could it be the teacher? Uh, are you open to give up what you think it should be and be taken on a journey? And yes, so not everybody comes to yoga and feel it's their cup of tea.
So what?
Really, I think a lot of thing about being ready. Like when I came to yoga first, it was physical. I didn't really, I was just starting my journey on self-discovery. And so I really didn't know what I was going to be feeling. I just knew that physically I felt marvelous. And then that took me down the road. So I came to it from a physical, like, act of doing the postures and that, and then grew layer after layer after layer of understanding that, oh gosh, there's something more. Why am I feeling so good? Well, there's so many other layers that I'm not even aware of, that over all these years, I'm still exploring yoga. But see, yoga is just a term. Yoga itself means the word union. It's the union of the silence and the dynamism, or the hot and cold and yin and yang. And it's the union of opposites. And that's a journey to be able to stay there on an ongoing basis. Because if you were there on an ongoing basis, you'd be enlightened. I'm not quite there yet.
So clearly, as you've said, you've been doing it for a long time now, for a lot of your life. What had you decide to go from actually just using it as exercise initially to then deciding to become an instructor?
I think sometimes life pushes you in different directions. Because I'm going to put my glasses on now. I had been teaching occasionally for many, many years. And then in 92, I was pushed into having to teach on an ongoing basis. So it was like, oh, I guess I'm going to be teaching now. That's a long story of how I got there. So I started teaching and realized, oh my goodness, I knew a lot from a certain perspective, but I didn't know anatomy and I didn't know all these other different things. Because when I took my teacher training, I don't think I'm going back many years, I didn't even think we did anatomy. So when I came back to really teach, then I just dove right into it. And it was like, started taking all these courses and workshops and trainings and looking more at the physical side of it and the anatomy, and from that standpoint. But during all those years, I was developing a connection to a deeper sense of a groundedness, a sense of feeling good in my body and loving my body. I mean, there's always parts that we don't like, right? But loving, having the freedom, that's what it is, having the freedom in my body. But also, through the meditation, being able to get a sense of self, of calm, of relaxation, of ease, expansiveness. But yet yoga does that as well. So it's like it's this package that is just, when you're ready, you're ready. If you're not ready, if you're busy, if you've got kids, and your interests are someplace else, I wouldn't say to somebody, uh, you know, do yoga. You got to do yoga, because for me, it's kind of a lifestyle. It's a way of being, and uh, and a tool, and a tool. I mean, it's just like you open up the cupboard and you go, which one am I going to choose, or I'm going to take the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. So some people might never have considered that breathing instructors even exist. So, what's wrong with the way we
Oh,
normally breathe?
oh, that's right. Well, if we don't breathe, we're not here. Bottom line.
That.
And they're with busy lifestyles and that, we can be very stressed. And, if we're breathing through our mouth, that's not as healthy as breathing through your nose. Because when you breathe through your nose, we breathe in the oxygen, the air, and the nose is actually connected to the diaphragm. And so by the diaphragm, we want to have more breathing in the diaphragm, because this whole area here in the lower lobes of the lungs, there's actually more blood circulation in the lower lobes. And so the connection into from the air coming in and then transferring in from the air into the blood is much easier and much more efficient when we breathe in through our nose. If we breathe in through our mouth habitually, then we're breathing up here in the upper chest, and that's more like fight or flight, anxiety. So if you've got anxiety, you're going to create more anxiety because you're breathing up here. It's a sympathetic system of, oh, I have to go, I have to do this. So in order to settle down and be connected more to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the heal and the rest and digest part of the nervous system, we're more relaxed and calm, and it affects our whole nervous system in a much more calming way. Both are good. We want to be energized and we also want to be calm. But breathing through the mouth can actually create problems. It can create nasal problems. It can exacerbate asthma. It could exacerbate our sleep. There's a whole number of issues that can be created from breathing through our mouth. And so one tip, if anybody just wants to take one tip away, is breathe through your nose. Because the nose has so many jobs. The mouth, you eat and you talk, right? The nose has so many. In fact, I've got I do ongoing webinars. They're actually more workshops, because you find out a lot about why you want to breathe this way. And then there's exercises that you can do. I leave you with some simple exercises to do so you can get a sense yourself of why you would want to breathe through your nose, sort of to inspire you to even consider your breathing, even when you're exercising. Keep your mouth shut.
No, I think you teach the Buteyko. Is it Buteyko?
Yes, Buteyko. Yes,
Yeah.
and I also use other, but it's predominantly Buteyko, because Buteyko is really great for healing issues, depression, asthma, sleep issues like sleep apnea, anxiety and stress, and panic attacks and things like that. Because I noticed myself, what was happening is I was teaching these other breaths that I had been teaching for many years and absolutely adore, which is about big breaths. Now, big breaths are fine. And it was always, for me, it was always through the nose. So I had no issues from that. But all of a sudden I'm seeing people teaching about breathing through their mouth. I'm going, oh, what's this? And then it was like one day I wake up and I just get in my mind, I want to listen to this certain teacher's way of teaching. And so I listened and I went, oh my gosh, it's the exact opposite to what I'm teaching. And I thought, I've got to explore this. I have to look into it more, because I was doing the big breaths, which I loved, but I was also knowing I was getting a little acid indigestion, and my blood pressure was going up a bit, because I don't do just anything little. I was doing it an hour a day and loving it and doing the whole thing. And it wasn't good for my physiology. It may be good for somebody else's physiology, but for my body, I was kind of overdoing it. And so I thought, after I watched this series, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to learn this. And that was the Buteyko. Yeah, the Buteyko, which is about light. So it's about LSD.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Let's take some LSD, which is light, soft, and deep. So you breathe lightly and softly and deeply, not, but deeply into the lower ribs and belly rather. And it's not like you're trying to push your belly out. You're not trying. The belly will just naturally, if it's relaxed, will have a little bit of expansion. Because I have a friend said, I breathe the air into my belly. And I said, well, you can't really breathe air into your belly. You can't get air in there. The lungs only stop here. The buck stops here, really, but it dispersed everything everywhere else. And the lungs actually move the body. So, so I thought it was.
Yeah. So you designed the clarity process, didn't you, Deborah? So tell me about that.
Oh yeah, so the clarity process. It was interesting. I was making a transition, and I thought, I've had so many changes in my life, and I've always landed on my feet, and I think it's time for me to write a book. And I've kind of wanted to write a book, and I thought, but I need to do some research. So I put together some questions, and I was talking to my friends and asking these questions, and then this one person said, holy cow, are you a coach, or what do you do? And I said, I'm just asking these questions. She says, because your questions gave me such clarity that, she said, you're actually a coach. And if actually I said to her, what do you mean a coach? And what's that? Because I thought, from your perspective, what is that? And she said, you've taken me through, I can do all this coaching, and yet I never really get to the point where you took me. You just took me to this point, and we had an aha, right? And so I thought, aha, I think there's something here. So I just kept on going and kept on going and kept researching and researching, and found that a lot of people got like their aha. Some people just had a little bit of clarity, but it was, it was great. And other people had, wow, yes, that makes a lot, it makes a lot of sense, because it's all there. It's all there. We just flick a switch and you get the aha. And so I decided, well, I think it's time for me to go out with a clarity process. So that's what it is. It's a process that it's just one-on-one. So you don't do it on a piece of paper and answer the questions. It's intimate. So, because if you say something, I might get a spark of an intuition that I need to ask from another perspective, or another perspective, or another perspective. And then it sort of comes out, and that's why you get the aha. So it's quite special. It's like the both of us are really focused on you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Despite breathing techniques and practicing yoga and having clarity, I mean, in life stuff happens, doesn't it, Deborah? So what's been the scariest challenge you've ever had to overcome?
Oh, the word scary is probably not the right word for me. I think it's because I have these tools to take me to that place of, if I'm ever feeling like up here and the mind is going crazy, which could be determined as scary. I've developed the ability to stop the story a lot quicker, because we can stop the story when our nervous system is really flexible. That's called resiliency. And these kind of techniques develop that when have more calm in our life, or have tools to bring us to a place of calm in our lives. Then over time, our nervous system gets used to that. And so when it goes out into it has the ability to come back. But if it's always up here, it's like there's a narrow pathway, and there really isn't any resiliency to get to that place of calm. And so if there was a time, I've had a lot of changes, but I've developed this ability now to kind of accept that when I get a certain feeling or a thought or whatever, I go, oh, okay, actually, maybe I'm finished. Like, for instance, I was living in Toronto, and I went to my high school reunion in Vancouver, because I was brought up in Vancouver. And when I was there, I was visiting a friend, and I was at her place, and she lives in this wonderful place where it's a condo that overlooks English Bay. If anybody knows Vancouver, English Bay, and so it's very expansive. And I'm standing there, and I went, "Oh, I think I'm coming home." It's like, now I could fight that, but instead of fighting it, I thought, I'm going to look into this and see whether that's true. So I spent the next number of months feeling it out to say, I think there's something great there. I think it's time for me to move. And that kind of happens for me when I'm finished. I'm kind of finished. And instead of fighting it, I accept it and go, okay, well, what do I need to do to move me forward to get there? Because when I move, because I've moved, I don't know how many times. I mean cities. I don't just mean houses. I mean cities. And I land on my feet. I've had several businesses, and I've landed on my feet. And I believe it's because I have these tools, and I've got wonderful friends. And it's sort of like I'm taking responsibility. I'm taking responsibility for my life, even though it may seem like, it's over here and it's over there. I'm kind of the calm in the storm as I walk through. This whole COVID thing has been like a godsend for me. I was able to pivot my business, which was just starting out because I had just come to Victoria, and I was just starting to make some inroads when I couldn't go out anymore. I had to go online, and I hadn't been online. So I shifted, and I thought, ooh, this is going to be really exciting, because I had kind of wanted to go online anyways, but felt like I needed to get established in Victoria first. And then, so I knew nothing. I mean, I've been on Zoom before lots of times, but so I had to learn Zoom, and I built my website, and I learned how to do all that. I didn't know bleep all, but I just thought, I think, the nature is organizing this for me. And in the long run, this is where I'm going. This is really where I'm going. And actually, I'm very, very happy. I have to say, I've had to learn a lot, and I'm still learning to edit and learning to do all these things. I'm going, okay, I got to learn something else. And I've never been a learner. I was terrible in school. I'd rather fool around. or have somebody tell me what to do, or somebody do it for me. But now I've had to do everything myself, and that has been humongously awesome on so many levels. So I can go.
Yeah, absolutely. Big pat on the back. So you talked about learning. So what would you say in your lifetime is the most valuable thing you've ever learned?
That we're taken care of. That the
Tell me
universe.
about that.
Well, if you're on the right path, and the paths are wide, it's like your dharma, and your dharma in a broad sense is your perfect purpose. But to take it into a much more expansive way, it's your purpose in alignment with others, or with the universe per se. It's not just me and my dharma, but how am I in the world, and does that fit in what the world do my talents and gifts fit in with what's needed in the world? Like that's kind of basic from that. Yeah. So I have really I've done the work to keep coming back to this place of, okay, I know my conveyor belt. It's because it's like our own conveyor belt. So we're riding down our conveyor belt, and we go, oh, I want to go over here. Is that still part of our conveyor belt? Or is that jumping off the conveyor belt? Like, I'm not a brain surgeon, so I'm probably not going to jump off my conveyor belt of a business that is not dealing with the kind of helping humanity in some way. So that's my broad, I would say that's my broad conveyor belt. And then I can focus down into, well, the means are yoga, the yoga, which is the asanas, the physical postures, and the breathing, and the meditation, and the clarity process, because that's going to take me along there. So I feel as long as I stay on my center, I can come back to that point, and it's actually never led me wrong. But I had to learn that. I had experiences, but sometimes you have to experience things from so many directions in order for them all to come together to go, oh yeah, that's it. I get it. And so I find that when I do settle down and be in that place, things flow much, much better.
Sounds
And
like
then
trust, Deborah.
it's,
Sounds like
well, that's the ultimate word. It's continually letting go and trusting that I'm on the right path. I'm going in the direction that is for me. And if I get taken off, maybe that's part of the path because I need to learn something a little bit. I never thought I was going to put together a website. That's technical. That's actually, it's sort of on the edges of my conveyor belt, but it's part of the conveyor belt because it's getting me to where I want to go. So trust is humongous. And I've had some amazing, amazing experiences with that. Yeah. Well, do you want me to tell you what the experience is?
Yeah, I do now.
I was going to, I had been in Fairfield, Iowa, because my company, Yoga Spirit, which was a continuing education company for yoga teachers, and I used international people to bring them into Toronto to teach other teachers and anybody else who wanted to learn about yoga. And then it got to a point where it's like everybody was also bringing in big people. And so I thought, do I have a business? And then one day I'm sitting there thinking, do I have a business? What am I doing here in the night? And literally, this word floated across, it was like it was in the corner of the room and I could see it. And it's like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I want that. And the word was teleclasses. Teleclasses. I thought, what's a teleclass? But I like it. I guess I can do that. I'm going to do it. I got goosebumps. I got really excited. And I thought, oh, this is awesome. And like, this is way back in 2004. I thought, okay, this is great. So I put together a whole, a test with one of the teachers who had written books, and she was very popular in the yoga community. I said, would you like to do a teleclass? And she said, what the heck's that? Is it on the TV? And I said, no. Okay, you can give a lecture. You don't have to come to Toronto, because I had brought her into Toronto. You can come you can do it over your phone, because in that days there wasn't really webinars for yoga people. Nobody really knew what a webinar was or anything like that. So I said, we'll call into a teleconference line. And then if you have something you want to show people, like on the shoulder joint or the hip joint or something like that, then we'll send them links of PDFs, or if there's something on your website, and then you can just tell them, okay, we're going to go to this link, this link, right? And so everybody's physically doing that. And so the first class, we had 50 paying people. And I thought, wow, this is really exciting. And so I thought, I think I might have something here. And so I said, I'm going to do a test for 6 more months. And I did more. And it was like, this is really, really exciting. And it was because I was receptive to receive something that was kind of outside me, but in me, because I believe, I've heard stories of this before, where, who's the writer, Eat, Pray, Love? Elizabeth Gilbert. She's had experiences like that before, and she was talking about this one woman who's had the same. It's like there is information well, you got to think about it. There's information in the universe, and it's going somewhere. So if it isn't going to me, somebody else who's receptive for it is like, so in a way that's kind of humbling, because I can't really say in terms of my ego that's me. I like to think it is because I did something with it, but it's like whoever is ripe for the taking, it's like the universe is there to help us all the time. So if we're in a place of ease and calm, we're going to recognize or feel or see or hear whatever it is. We're going to hear, and if it feels really good, then we jump on it, and don't doubt. And that was it led me into a really great business. It was before its time, so I had to build it up, and I didn't build the website, but I was punching everybody's credit card in manually. So when I first started, and then I thought, this is ridiculous, I've got to do something more automated, otherwise I'm going to just be crunching credit cards all day. So I had a website built, and then 5 years later, guess what? Through the economic downturn, I lost the company. So it was like I had 5 years of this amazing experience and of learning about business and learning about so many aspects. And then it was gone. Okay. So I went to Fairfield and I spent 2.5 years meditating 7 hours a day. The exact opposite, which was Fairfield, Iowa, which is the home of the Maharishi University of Management. Well, actually now it's the Maharishi International University. It was the most profound years of my life. It was really profound. And that led me into teaching transcendental meditation. I went on their teacher training, which is a 6-month training, away from the world. And that was another profound experience.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's like, I learned TM. So here's another thing about commitment. I learned TM when I was 24, and I did every once in a while. And then in 92, it was kind of a year of shift. In 92, it just clicked. And I thought, I've been looking under the rock and in the cupboards and under the blankets and everything for it, like the Holy Grail, right? And I thought, I had this thing in my back pocket all along. Why don't I just do it? Because if I don't do it, if I don't commit to do it, it's only just this thing. And so I thought, that's it. I commit. I'm committed. So I've been meditating twice a day since 92. Wow. And that is what really cultures the nervous system. Yeah.
Gosh. Really, so you do so many amazing things, Deborah. So how can people find out more about you?
Oh, they can go to my website, and it's right there, deborah.rubin.ca. Right on the, can you see I don't know if you can see the label.
They won't see that on YouTube.
Okay, so it's Deborah as in the biblical Deborah. So it's DEBORAH, Rubin, RUBIN.ca, not .com, because there's a wonderful artist who you might want to see that's deborahrubin.com, but I'm .ca, which is Canada.
Great. And I can.
And I've got an upcoming webinar on how we breathe matters, and I also I teach yoga in the morning, live 1-hour class. I teach a gentle class, which whether you've done yoga before or not, and you do not have to be flexible, please don't think you have to be flexible to do that. It's not about having to be flexible or doing it. You do it to stretch your mind, your muscles, your joints, to open the body, to be present. It's more than just physical, but it's very gentle. And then I have a moderate class. So the gentle class is Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:00 Pacific time. And then the moderate class is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And would love to see, or you can just drop in and try a class.
Well, I can put your links below the videos. So finally, Deborah, how would you like people to remember you?
That's a really good question. The word light comes to me. Light, joyful, um, creative, expressive, helpful, caring, um, embracing. Yeah. And also there's my YouTube channel. You can kind of go get a sample of me there. I just do like 3-5 minute little breaks with either breathing or yoga or, you know, simple little things that are kind of fun yet educational. Yeah, you can go to. Now
Deborah,
it's Deborah Marcia Rubin. I'm Marcia because there's a herd of Deborah Rubins out there. So or a school of us, since I'm a Pisces.
Deborah Marcia Rubin, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
this has been a riot. Thank you. It's great talking about myself. Thank you, Julie. You're so awesome.